Hey everybody, I'm Chris42 and welcome to Trivia Time. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time that was originally released on Nintendo 64 in 1998. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show. When the concept of Z targeting was being developed, an upside-down triangle was used to determine which enemy Link was targeting. However, the designers felt this marker was too simple, so they wanted to replace it with a cute fairy girl, believing it would fit the Zelda atmosphere. However, the Nintendo 64 was not able to support such a fairy, so a ball of light with wings was used instead. She was originally called a fairy navigation system, but was later simply named Navi. After naming her, many of her functions were designed, such as changing color to distinguish between friends and foes, acting as a guide, and providing strategy tips. Her design also allowed developers to overcome a problem with Ocarina Forest. Due to the Nintendo 64's limitations, it was difficult to display the villages and structures all at once, so each person was paired with a fairy to help locate them. When Link approached them, their owners would appear and he could interact with them. Both of these expanded the story so that Link was the only child in the forest without a fairy, then he met and partnered with a fairy companion. In the game's code, there's some unused text from Naburu where she says that Link is an enemy of Ganondorf and must die. This is probably going to be used during the fight against her when she's an Iron Knuckle. Mido's name might originate from the Japanese word for green, Midori. It could also originate from the word meadow, since Ocarina Forest is a grassy green place. There's a theory among some Zelda fans that Mido is the reincarnation of Groose, a character from Skyward Sword. Mido's behavior is rather similar to Groose's, as Mido is jealous of Link's relationship with Saria, just like Groose is jealous of Link's relationship with Zelda in Skyward Sword. Groose's pompadour also resembles Mido's pointed hat. Since Skyward Sword came out long after Ocarina of Time, it may be safe to say that Groose may have been partially based on Mido. In an Ocarina of Time developer's interview posted on Shigesato Itoi's website, scriptwriter Toru Ozawa said that Talon and Malon from Ocarina of Time are based on Taron and Marin from Link's Awakening, and it is intended that players who have played the previous game will recognize the reference. Speaking of Malon, the symbols on the bottom of her dress spell Lon in Hylian, which refers to Lon Lon Ranch, the place where she lives. Similarly, the bean seller has the kanji for bean tattooed to his arm, which refers to the fact that he sells beans. The Forest Temple boss, Phantom Ganon, wields a trident, which is reference to Ganon's weapon of choice in previous Zelda games. Bongo Bongo is the only dungeon boss in Ocarina of Time that does not actually require the item Link finds in its dungeon to be used during its fight. The hover boots can be used, but are not necessary for victory. When targeting a Beamos, Navi says that it doesn't like smoke. This is a reference to Old Man's hint in the Moon Labyrinth in the original Legend of Zelda, where he says Dodongo dislikes smoke. When targeting a Shabam enemy, Navi says if you try to cut it, it will bounce off your blade. This is inaccurate, as trying to cut it will cause it to explode and damage Link. In Master Quest, it was changed to if you cut it, it will burst open and knock you back, a more accurate description. In the 3DS remake, it was completely changed to it's a big floating bubble, be careful not to touch it to remove all confusion. In the shooting gallery, you can find wonder posters that resemble Vati's Wrath form and Nightmare's Death-Eye form. These are more like a reference to Nightmare, considering he was the villain of the previous Zelda game, while Minish Cap came many years after Ocarina of Time. If you look through one of the windows in a Hyrule Castle courtyard, you can find pictures of Mario, Peach, Luigi, Bowser, and Yoshi. These were removed in the 3DS remake, but instead the wall was painted to look like a level for New Super Mario Bros. The Kokiri shop located in Kokiri Forest is the only shop the Link is required to enter to complete the game. He needs to come here to get a Deku Shield so he can enter the first dungeon. It is said that those who wander into the Lost Woods return to Stalfos to get lost. However, in the German version, this is changed to people being turned into plants to get lost. Meanwhile, in the French version, it is simply stated that you become a monster if you get lost. Dodongo's Cavern is the only one of the 3 dungeons Link visits to get the 3 spiritual stones that isn't a living creature. The Ice Cavern is the first dungeon in the series to include a piece of heart within it. This practice will recur in later games, appearing in some mini-dungeons in Majora's Mask, in one case in the Wind Waker, more frequently in the Minish Cap, systematically in Twilight Princess, and occasionally in Skyward Sword. Octoroks originally looked similar to the designs in previous Zelda games. The same thing applies to the Stalfos. Even Link had a design similar to his previous appearances before he got a new design in this game. The Great Fairies originally looked much more fairy-like than they do in the final game. Originally, the 6 medallions were going to be equipable items that would be used in conjunction with Link's bow and arrow. This is why the Fire Medallion symbol is located outside the Shadow Temple, because originally it was going to be used to open the Shadow Temple, before being replaced by Din's Fire in the final game. Originally, there were these strange Ocarina pedestals located in the game, perhaps meaning originally you had to use your Ocarina at these particular spots. Also, considering there was one in front of Lord Jabu Jabu, perhaps originally you were supposed to play a song to get it over his mouth before being replaced by feeding him a fish in the final game. In the game's code, there's an unused R-Wing enemy with Star Fox. This R-Wing was originally used to program Volvagia's flight patterns, and can be hacked back into the game where you can fight it and even kill it. After the release of Ocarina of Time, Shigeru Miyamoto announced that an expansion would follow Ocarina of Time, tentatively known as Ura Zelda. The expansion was purported to include rearranged dungeons from the original game. The Nintendo 64 DD became a commercial failure in Japan, and so most of Nintendo's planned titles for 64 DD, including Ura Zelda, was never released. Miyamoto insisted that the game would continue to be developed, and in August 2000 indicated that Ura Zelda had been completed for some time. Despite this, Nintendo could not decide how to release the game, and considered different methods such as a magazine tie-in. With the release of The Wind Waker, a special bonus was offered for pre-ordering the game. This bonus is a Nintendo GameCube disc containing Ocarina of Time as well as a release of Ura Zelda, titled outside Japan as Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest. Master Quest contains altered dungeons with a steeper difficulty level as originally promised for Ura Zelda. Master Quest is also included in the 3DS remake of Ocarina of Time, unlocked after being the main game. However, it's been updated so now the entire game is mirrored. Also, enemies and bosses now do twice as much damage to Link, making the game an overall harder experience that only a master could beat. When Ocarina of Time was remade for the 3DS, many changes were made to the game. This includes the addition of the Boss Rush mode where you can refight bosses, and the Visions mode where you can look at visions to help you on puzzles you get stuck on. Many areas in the game also got new redesigns. The most prominent one though has to be the Water Temple, with the addition of colourful borders that direct the player to the areas where Link can raise or lower the world level, making the dungeon a lot less confusing overall. Some characters also got updated designs, like Sheik being made to look more feminine, or Ruta being made to look less naked. One last notable change is that the Stone of Agony has been changed into the Shard of Agony in the remake, due to the fact that 3DS does not have a rumble pack. One last piece of trivia is the mirror shield's design. Originally it had an Islamic symbol on it, however this was changed in later releases to the Gerudo symbol. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Hey guys, you guys give a big old thumbs up, and if you want to see some more trivia time on Zelda, try clicking on the thumbnails on the screen.